All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest and, honestly, one of the most passionate debates in the world of data analytics, star schema versus the flat table.
This might sound like some super technical behind-the-scenes detail, but trust me, how you decide to structure your data, it is a huge deal. It has a direct impact on everything: how fast your queries run, how clear your insights are, and frankly, how much of a headache it is to maintain your data pipelines down the road. This is way more than a technical choice. It's a strategic one, and people have some very strong opinions on both sides.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. What we're really talking about is something called data modeling. And you can think of it as the art of taking all this raw, messy, chaotic data from all over the place and turning it into something clean, structured, and reliable, something that's actually built for analysis.
I absolutely love this analogy from the legendary book, The Data Warehouse Toolkit. It just hits the nail on the head. Think about it. Your raw data logs are just ingredients. Some are fresh, some are not so fresh. The ETL system, that's extract, transform, load, that's your kitchen. It's where all the magic happens to turn those raw ingredients into a meal that someone actually wants to eat. Something that delivers real insight.
So first up in the ring, let's meet the reigning champion of data warehousing, an approach that's been the gold standard for decades now, the star schema.
So what is it, exactly? Well, a star schema cleverly splits your data into two main types of tables. Right there in the middle, you've got your fact table. This holds all the numbers, the things you can measure, like sales figures or how many units were sold. And then, all around it, you have dimension tables. These give you all the juicy context, the who, what, when, and where for all those numbers.
And this is exactly how it gets its name. See? The fact table is the core, and the dimension tables shoot off from it, just like the points of a star. They're all connected by these simple, clean relationships called joins. It's a really organized, really intuitive structure because, honestly, it mirrors how a business actually thinks about itself.
And this user from the Power BI subreddit really nails it. The true power of this star schema is that it models a business process. It gives you this consistent, reusable context. You can have one product table, right? And you can connect it to your sales data, your inventory data, your marketing data, and you know that everyone in the company is using the exact same definition of a product. That reusability is everything for building an analytics program people can actually trust.
But in the other corner, we've got a challenger, and this one is all about brute force and simplicity over that elegant structure. Let's talk about the flat table. So instead of carefully separating facts from all their context, the flat table does the complete opposite. It uses a process called denormalization, which is really just a fancy way of saying it pre-joins everything. And it crams every single metric and every single attribute into one gigantic wide table.
Probably the easiest way to picture this is to just imagine one enormous spreadsheet. I'm talking hundreds, maybe even thousands of columns. Every single piece of data you could ever possibly need for your analysis is just right there, all in one place, no assembly required.
Now you're probably asking, why on earth would anyone do that? Well, the whole argument really boils down to two things: simplicity and speed. For the person writing the query, it's super simple, right? No complex joins to figure out, and, as we're about to see, for certain modern databases, scanning one huge table can actually be way faster than making the database do a bunch of joins on the fly.
See, for a long time, the star schema was the clear winner because joins were expensive for computers to do. But then, the technology underneath it all completely changed the rules of the game.
And this is maybe the most important point of this whole discussion. You can't pick a winner in a vacuum. The best choice between a star schema and a flat table depends entirely on the arena, the database you're actually using. What was slow 5 years ago might be lightning fast today. The technology that really reignited this whole debate was the columnar database. Think systems like Vertica, Amazon Redshift, or Snowflake. Unlike traditional databases that store data in rows, these store it in columns. And that's a massive shift. It means if you have a huge flat table with 200 columns, but your query only needs 5 of them, the database only reads those 5 columns. It makes those scans incredibly efficient.
And it wasn't just one thing. It was like a perfect storm of new tech. You've got massively parallel processing, or MPP, which basically means your database acts like an army of computers all tackling your query at the same time. You've got amazing data compression, which made the storage costs for all that duplicated data in flat tables way less of a big deal. And of course, the cloud gave us the raw computing power to handle it all.
And hey, this isn't just theory. A recent performance study in 2024 actually tested both models on different systems. And the results? They were crystal clear. There is no one-size-fits-all winner. The star schema actually ran better on Amazon Redshift in their tests. But the flat table model? It was way faster on IBM DB2 and some other modern systems.
So, after all of that, how in the world do we choose a winner in this great data debate?
Okay, it's time for the verdict.
Let's just put them head to head. The pros for the star schema are all about long-term sanity. It's clear, it's reusable, and it's way easier for regular business folks to understand. The main con is that joins can sometimes be a performance issue. The flat table, its pros are those simple join-free queries and the potential for incredible speed. But the cons? Whew, boy! You've got massive data duplication and a maintenance nightmare. Imagine having to update a customer's name in 10,000 different rows. Yikes.
And that last point, confusing users, that can be an absolute deal breaker. This quote from a data pro just nails the biggest risk of flat tables. When you don't model relationships correctly, business users start seeing bizarre, inaccurate results. Grand totals are just wrong, dashboard filters act weird, and that completely destroys the single most important thing you have, their trust in the data.
So, our final verdict is a split decision, but with some really clear advice. You should probably default to a star schema for almost all of your core business intelligence work, especially if you're using tools like Power BI or Tableau. It just prioritizes clarity, maintainability, and accuracy. But you could consider a flat table for a very specific isolated project, like, say, feeding a machine learning model, where you just need raw speed on a system you know is built for it.
And that really brings us to our final and most crucial takeaway. We spent this whole time asking the question, star or flat? But after everything we've looked at, maybe that's the wrong question to be asking.
The better question, the much smarter question, is this. What tools do you have? Who are your users? And what business problem are you actually trying to solve? Your data model is a tool. It is not a religion. The right answer always depends on your specific situation. And if you answer that question honestly, it will always point you to the right choice for the job.